Hello, Intro to Theater students. It's time for our vocab list number 3, script scoring. So scoring is another word for writing. So when you are script scoring, you're taking your script and you are making small marks throughout, always in pencil, so you can erase it afterwards, to give yourself more of an understanding of the different lines and the different instructions that you're reading. You can have different script scoring that tells you how to pronounce a line and how to pause and how to emphasize certain parts. It can also have script scoring that will tell you where you're moving and how you're moving on the stage. So there's lots of different script scores that you have to learn so that you can just put them in there very quickly and have them there for your reference later on. You don't have to write in the full word. You can just write a really tiny mark and you know exactly what it means. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. First off, we have the plus sign, which just means you're going to give a slight pause. So if you're reading something and there's a slight pause, then you put that little plus mark in between the two phrases. If it's going to be a slightly longer pause for like 1 second long, then you're going to put this slash in there. And if it's going to be 2 seconds or longer than that, then you put 2 slashes next to each other. And that really means you got to stop for a second and really give that moment of pause so that the audience can hear that strongly. After that, we have the curved arrow, which means it's a phrase. That's when you have a sentence or just a small phrase in the script that really needs to be brought together. It needs to all be flowing together very clearly so that the emphasis and the meaning in it can be all brought together. So when you have a phrase, you have the end of it, the tail end goes at the beginning of the phrase, and then the point goes at the end of the phrase, and it goes all the way above your phrase. We have light stress, where you just underline the phrase or the word, and heavy stress, where you have a double underline. That's pretty obvious as to what that means. When something really needs to be stressed, then you put the double underline. When you're talking and your pitch level goes up, then you use that marker for the pitch level rising. When you're talking and the pitch level goes down, then you do the pitch level falling mark. Again, pretty self-explanatory. It makes sense, right? When you're talking and you need to speed up and you need to go faster than that, then you use the speed up. And that's just an arrow going slightly diagonally up. When you're talking and you need to slow down, same thing. It's a diagonal arrow going slightly down. Now, then we move into some movements as well. So stand up is pretty self-explanatory. It's just an arrow going up. So if you have stage directions that tell you to stand up and you don't want to actually have to read them every time, you just put that arrow up for stand up. Same thing, the arrow down means sit down. Now, these two are more for understanding your characters. CL stands for character line, a sentence or phrase which is crucial for understanding a character. So character lines always need to be emphasized, always need to be very clear to the audience. A character line is something that will help the audience understand your inner thoughts as a character. So if you are, for instance, explaining a childhood trauma that impacts the way that you act, that's going to be a character line. If you are talking about your motivations, things like that, those are character lines. Laugh lines, on the other hand, are where you say the line and then you need to pause because the audience is going to laugh at it. It's pretty self-explanatory. But it just means pause because if you don't, you're going to keep talking and the audience is going to laugh over you and it's going to be awkward and not good. All right? And the next few are all about moving. So X means cross the stage. U means upstage. D means downstage. C means center stage. L means stage left. And R means stage right. That means if you are crossing from upstage left to downstage right, then you're going to have an X followed by a UL followed by a DR. Cross upstage left to downstage right. Okay? So these are markings that tell you where you're moving across the stage. So it's always important that you know those terms from our list 1 so that you can understand it and write those in. EN means enter and EX means exit the stage. Again, fairly self-explanatory. And the last 4 are things that you write in when you're trying to help yourself remember things about your lines. A beat Every time a character pauses, when they shift what they're thinking about or have a realization, that's called a beat. So every so often there will be a time when you're just talking and, oh my goodness, I just realized. That's a beat. A super objective is what a character wants more than anything else. So we were talking earlier when we were figuring out characters and creating our own characters. We were talking about what does a character want in this scene. That would be more of an objective than a super objective. A super objective is when a character wants more than anything else in their whole life. An objective is what a character wants for another character in a particular scene. So those two things are related, but a super objective is stronger. It really drives the character. And finally, we have a tactic, what a character does to get another character to give them what they want. So when you are looking over your script and you say, oh, this person acted in this certain way in order to make another character say this or do this. That was their tactic. Okay? And again, that'd be a script score that you would write in next to your lines in the script. That would help you know, okay, that's a tactic that they just wrote in there. All right, so those are our terms for this week. Go and come on back to the Google Meet and we'll talk about it, and I'll give you your assignment that has to do with this.